Well, I spoke earlier about BBC presenter Martine Croxall being found guilty by the UK's public broadcaster of the crime of being a biological woman with a facial expression after breaching its own rules about impartiality, apparently, when she did this.
London's School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has released research which says that nearly 600 heat-related deaths are expected in the UK. Malcolm Mystery, who was involved in the research, says that the aged, pregnant people, women, and those with pre-existing health conditions need to take precautions.
Joining me now from London is Samara Gill, host of Triggered with Samara Gill. Look, Samara, this presenter's now been censured, so good to see that the BBC is having yet another totally normal one.
Yes, because of the, well, hi, Danica. I wanted to just jump into this. The smallest eye roll after reading a script that called pregnant women pregnant people. Really? I mean, I just really think that the BBC at the moment should not be finger wagging at its presenters for common sense. They're actually embroiled in scandal at the moment over here. There has basically been this leaked dossier by The Telegraph that has revealed some really damning findings about the BBC, such as a doctored Trump video where they've essentially spliced together Trump's speech to make it look like he called for an insurrection when he never did. They really then have put a Hamas official's son as a narrator of a documentary about Gaza. They've also been found to have a LGBTQ wing that has been actively pushing a message that is not conducive with basically doing a fair representation of what LGBTQ is. So they've actually been pushing a lot of propaganda out. There's basically a 17-page dossier that has come out. But apparently, no, Martine Croxall, for rolling her eyes, is the one that needs to be held accountable. No one ever gets held accountable at the BBC for the big things, but the small things about trans people, sure, yeah, absolutely. Someone needs to be held accountable for that.
Yeah, the crime of a facial expression. Who would have thought, Samara? But that's where the BBC is at. Extraordinary. Now, look, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been ordered to appear before the US Congress over his links to pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Well, look, Samara, it gets worse and worse, doesn't it? Will he actually have to go over to the US?
Well, yeah, he's sort of been ordered to appear before Congress. But the issue is he said that he would do this quite a few years ago when he was under a lot of public pressure. He kind of mentioned, yes, I'd be happy to go over to the US and appear before Congress. I don't think this is ever going to happen. Honestly, this man has been absolutely stripped of everything. He's been ordered to move out of his very lavish castle. Rightly so. The Virginia Giuffre book, the findings within that are just colossal. And I think the thing is, he's never apologized for anything that he's allegedly done. And he actually, if he really does want to maintain his innocence, which no one, quite frankly, believes at this point, he would have hung around in all the circles. He would know the names. He'd be able to help maybe bring some of these victims justice if he did want to appear before Congress. But that's just something that Andy, as we know him now, would never do. So I think there's a snowball's chance in hell that Andrew will be going over to the US and helping any effort for these victims. We know that he blatantly does not care.
No, he clearly does not. I mean, it would be great if he did. I would get the popcorn ready and we'll be all watching that one. Now, Samara, Meghan Markle is reportedly making a return to acting. God help us, 8 years after quitting Hollywood to join the royal family. What could we be subjected to?
Torture, maybe.
Yeah. Agreed.
No, look, Meghan is basically, she's returning to acting as herself. Shock horror. The victim tour does continue. Essentially, she plays herself in this film that is about famous people dating civilians. It's a really D-list film. I mean, the actors are a bunch of Nepo babies, people like Dennis Quaid's son. This isn't anything sort of Martin Scorsese, Oscar worthy. And her people have put out that she's just been swamped by offers and she's had to pick the best one. This is blatantly untrue. The irony is really poetic. You know, she left this amazing institution, the royal family, to essentially circle back to a D-list acting career while Harry sits on the couch and just laments about life. You couldn't write this stuff.
No,
you really couldn't.
You really can't write it. Well, yeah, here we go again. Samara Gill, it's nice to see you as always.